All right, so before I read this whole thing, I was going to tell you guys what Rima means really quick. So says the scriptural evidence of the power that accompanies God's word spoken by his spirit into and through us is truly amazing. And so Rima means utterance or things said. So it's when God speaks to you and tells you things. And in this book I'm reading, earlier in the book, he talks about spending time in the garden. He was talking about Adam and Eve and how they spent time, or how God would come to them and they would spend time just fellowshipping with him and having communion and just talking with them. And he said he felt like that was just a waste of time. He just didn't want to sit there and do. He felt like there was just a lot of stuff he needed to be doing. He didn't have time to just sit and talk to God. And so he said God had to teach him that that is the purpose of creation. That is what he wanted. And that's his desire, is to have that personal relationship with us and just to spend that time with him. And it's not a waste of time. And so there's a story in the Bible, and it's talking about Simon, and he was out on the boat and he was fishing all day and he caught nothing. And then he was listening to Jesus, and Jesus told him to go back out and cast his net again. And that time he went out and he filled up both nets, and two boats were so full of fish that they were about to sink. And so it said, what made the difference? Why did they labor fruitlessly for long hours and catch more than they could handle? The difference was Rima. I can do what I think needs to be done when I think, where I think, in the way I think, or I can work hard, exhaust all my energy and resources, and still accomplish very little. And when I begin a day, I can look at all the needs clamoring for my attention and wear myself out trying to meet them all. Or I can start my day in prayer and receive God's direction as Rima, telling me where to devote my time and energy. And if I do that, I can walk through my day in peace, free from guilt and hassle, and accomplish far more than I could have ever under my own initiative. Rima gives us timing and it gives us location. Rima gives us productivity. And I don't know if you guys know Krista Deary, I believe, but she actually shared a post the other day I felt like went perfect with this. She said, there's some amazing books out there, great podcasts, fantastic teachers, preachers, counselors, doctors, amazing supplements, sometimes necessary medication, self-help, health help, mental help, all the helps, all the things, all the resources anyone needs, all available at our fingertips. But yet nothing can do for you what an encounter with the Holy Spirit can do. Get yourself, your spouse, and your children into environments where the Holy Spirit is given the space to move. Nothing else can satisfy, fix, or heal like he can. And so I just thought that was really good. I know sometimes when you wake up in the day and you have your list of what you need to accomplish just running through your mind, it's really hard. Sometimes you feel like you don't have time to sit in the garden, so to speak, just to sit there and listen to God's voice. But I love how it's shared, like, you can be, when you spend that time with him, you can be way more productive because he's going to give you that wisdom and that direction. And then that's what it's about anyways, is just having that relationship with him. And something I wanted to start doing is when we have power hours, actually doing like an hour of having worship music playing and it's all getting on, and then using that time to just pray specifically over our business and over our teams and things like that. And so we'll probably maybe do them a couple times a month and just invite you all on when we do them, and we can get on and pray together. That's all I got.
I was actually watching a video this morning where she was talking about spending time with Jesus and sitting there listening, and she was talking about how he's never, when we come and spend time with him, he's never going to be condemning us and telling us we're doing everything wrong. And it's going to be a time where he's just loving you and forgiving you. And it's just always good to spend time in his presence and praising him. You want me to go?
You can, you have more.
Okay. All right. So the other day in our group chats, I sent Emily Gibson's magic phrase video. It was right late at night, so I don't know if anybody watched it, but I'm going to kind of go over that today because I think she has a really good system that can really help us get business builders instead of having to enroll everyone ourselves, to help others do that. And she's a 5-star diamond So she has a very successful team, and
She's a 5-star diamond, but has 15 jewels on
Yeah.
those 5 stars. So
yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
yeah, she said, actually in there somewhere that, she was talking about being a 5-star diamond. And she said this that she's doing right now has been the easiest thing for her team to get others to do with them, doing this system. So out of everything that they've done over, I think she said 7 years, this has been the easiest thing they have found to work for them. So if we can implement. But when she started off, she talked about do not write anyone off. We talk about that a lot. Don't assume that no one wants to hear about the business. And this necessarily isn't the business. This is just helping them use the referral link like every company does. Like the food companies and the eyelash companies and stuff like that, all of them use your referral link and they'll give you cash back. Plexus does the same. It's no different. So she said, do not write anyone off. No matter how much money somebody makes, they want that extra cash, especially when they're spending it on products themselves. They want the extra cash and they want the prizes that we have. What works best is consistency in a system. We have that. We have been telling you guys about that consistency over and over and over in doing the system. You have to continue to do that. You can't do something for a little bit and stop and then think it's not working. You can't do it here or there and think it's not working. You have to be consistent and you have to do it all the time. She says the goal is not to just recruit people. That is just a step. So we work a lot on recruiting people ourselves. We want to keep doing that. That's something you're still going to do everything that you're doing in your sites and you're going to keep recruiting people, but that's just a step of what we're doing. That's not our main goal. You are done recruiting someone until you say her magic phrase. Until you get to this final step, you are not done recruiting someone. She had some good tips that I want to go over when you are recruiting someone. So when you're making a Facebook post or you're talking to somebody and you're telling them, maybe your post was talking about constipation or autoimmune or weight loss, and they comment on that and said that they struggle with one of those. And you ask them, okay, well, what one of these things do you struggle with? What do you need help with? And they tell you IBS. Then you're going to go to our health and happiness group and you're going to search that problem and find a testimony. Almost every problem that someone has can be linked to gut health or weight loss, and we have products for those. And so you're going to go to our health and happiness group and you're going to search that problem and you're going to find a testimony and send it to them. So maybe you've had a conversation with somebody. I know some of you have been saying that you're having a hard time with your sites. So maybe go back to your old messages, scroll up and read what they told you their problems were. Go find a testimony. Maybe you haven't talked to them in months. Go find a testimony that has to do with their problem and send them that testimony and say, hey, can you relate to any of this? And if they say yes, and you can say, would you like to know what products they use or what products could help with that? Just another way to try to recruit people, another step that you can take. Send them testimonies so that they're seeing other people besides just you. But after you put so say they say yes and they want to order. So after they put their order in, what are we going to do next? And she sends a voice message. I would really encourage you to try to send a voice message. I don't want to just type up a script for you guys to use and send over and over and it not seem real personal. I feel like if you can make it more personal, then it'll be more effective. And you don't know them, just send a voice message. It'll be fine. So she said something like, hey, by the way, when you start, so she is selling reset welcome packs. Sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. She's selling reset welcome packs for the most part because people want quick results. They want to see things happen right now. When they get these quick results, when they start feeling better, then they're going to want to share faster instead of having to wait a month or so to see when their body starts to react to the products. But
Time out real quick. This month with Reset Welcome Packs, if you're posting a lot on it, you can offer people the Reset Pack and then say for $25 more, you can add a 30-day combo to it. So like this month is Reset's been great since we've had it to sell it, but this month it's like literally $129 for the Reset, or you're paying like $153 for Reset and Triplex, or Reset and Healthy Weight Basics, or
and
whatever.
then you're getting the active on top of that. So really they're buying the active and getting the whole combo free.
Yeah.
So it's a really awesome deal. So don't you want to push it. But when they order their Reset, send them a voice message. I know a lot of you did the reset with we had that challenge last week, and a lot of you guys did it together. So send them a voice message that, hey, by the way, when you start with a couple of friends, she shares a little bit of her story. She's like, I did this with a couple of friends. We had a lot of fun. We were able to talk back and forth, and it just made it so much more fun. It held me accountable. I was able to stick with it because I was doing it with friends. But when you start with a couple of friends, then you it helps you stay consistent and you can earn back cash back. It says when you do this with 3 people, the company is going to give you a $400 bonus. What do you think? Send a voice message explaining that they can do it with friends. Lex is going to send you $400. What do you think? And a lot of times they'll say, yes, I was thinking about doing it with my mom, my friend, my sister, my coworker. A lot of times women like to do diets together. Whenever I was a teacher, there was constant diets going on with all the coworkers together. They want to do it together. So a lot of times they can think of somebody that they want to reach out to. Right now, just have them think of one person. Who's somebody that you can reach out to? If they said, yeah, I was thinking about doing it with my mom, you say, great. Once again, you can send another voice message. What do you think about messaging her to tell her about this 3-day reset that you're doing and ask her if she wants to do it with you? Can you message her right now? Like ask them, go ahead, reach out to that person right now and see what they want to do. You can give them a little bit what to send on what the reset is. And then say, if you need me to talk to them, just start a 3-way chat and I'll help them get their order in. And you guys can do this together. You give them an accountability partner. So you've signed 1, and then if they found someone who wants to do it with them, you've signed 2. Because sometimes they don't do it. Sometimes the person that you talk to doesn't order. That doesn't matter. That's fine. You still have to do this after every enrollment. This is when I was talking about consistency. There is probably going to be a lot of people that you're going to ask to do this, and they're going to say, no, I want to see results first, or no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell anybody what I'm doing. And that's fine. That doesn't matter. Just say okay and go on. But there are going to be people that say yes. So say you did this all month long and you had 5 people who said, yeah, I have somebody, and that person ordered with them. Then instead of 5 enrollments, you now had 10 enrollments that month. So it's helping you get people without having to constantly try to search for them. Everybody knows somebody at least. Don't have to necessarily focus on the 3. We want to get them their 3, but if they just get 1, that's helping them. If they say they don't know, they want to see how it works for them, say that's no problem, but we do have clinical trials with our reset that prove the average weight loss of 6 pounds in 3 days. So you just tell them that we do have clinical trials that prove this, and you can leave them alone for, you don't have to keep pushing them. She says that she asks them, and then if they say no and why, then she does 1 defense with that, and then she leaves them alone for a week or so. If they say they don't know anybody, then tell them, well, hey, you can make a Facebook post and say, hey, I'm doing this 3-day reset. I don't really want to do it alone. Does anybody want to do this with me? And they can do that. And then anybody who comments, tell them, put them in a 3-way chat with you, and you can help that person order. I don't really. Whenever she talks about it's worth all of the no's. There will be plenty of no's, but it's worth all of the no's for the few yeses that you get. And everybody, even a lot of people will just want to do it with their husband. Their husband will want to do it with them. So that's their person that they can order. So whenever she says you don't celebrate your enrollment until you get a yes on this. So we're recruiting that person, we're getting them enrolled, but we're not done. We're moving on and trying to get their 1 person. When they say they have their level 1 signed up, so you signed a new level 1 and they just signed their first level 1, then your magic phrase that you get to say to them is, oh my gosh, you just made $45. If you do this 2 more times, then you get $400. What do you think? So they signed the first person, you just made $45. If you're doing the reset welcome pack, they're getting the $30 business building bonus and about $15 in pay points. That's where the $45 come from. So if they got their 1, then maybe now you could encourage them to make that Facebook post to find 2 more and help them get the 40 or the $400. She says like they have kept this going so much because she gets so excited when she gets to say that you just got $45. She makes that her goal to everybody that she enrolls to tell them to do this with them and get them their $45. I can't remember, in the video, she talks about how many fast start silvers and senior silvers and golds she got this past couple months by doing this program. I talked about that. If they want, so they just got their $45, and if they want to try to get 2 more, ask them. So maybe it's only a 3-day reset. So maybe they finished their 3-day reset, or if they said they didn't know anyone, help them come up with a post. So you ask them, what did you notice when you did your 3-day reset? How much did you lose? Did you notice inflammation gone? How do you feel? Energy, things like that. Ask them what they noticed, and then help write a paragraph for them to post. So she puts their results in and writes up a little thing for them to post. And then she asks them for a selfie. And she's like, I want their face, don't want their hand and their drink, whatever. Ask them for a selfie of their face, and they'll send one, and then say, okay, now post this paragraph with this selfie to your profile. And then you, your sponsor, are going to go comment on them, go comment on their post something. So then you are supporting them, and then you're also going to watch as other people comment. And as everybody comments, these people know her, they don't know you. So if you post your results, it's probably not going to affect them that much, but they know her. So when they see her results, they're going to start comment, what'd you do? What'd you do? And then tell them, every person that comments, get them in a 3-way chat with me, and I will help talk them through and help them get ordered, and hopefully get them to 3 to get them to silver. But this is how you're going to build a team. She says, if they get another person that they enroll, then, you do it all over again. When they enrolled one, you go to that person and say, hey, did you know if you do this with friends, you can get $45? And you go through the same system over and over with everyone. You have to stay consistent. You can't do it with 3 and they tell you no and you stop doing it. You have to keep doing it, because like I said, if only 3 people tell you yes all month long, but those 3 get that person, then you've got 6, and that makes a difference. So that's how you're going to actually build a team, instead of just trying to constantly keep up with all of it yourself.
This is part of growing as a leader too. And like, whenever a lot of you guys are sharing your goals and sharing those, like wanting to be jewel level, wanting to earn the trips to Hawaii and things like that, that's not something that can be a one-man show. Nobody usually gets to Emerald by themselves. It's because they've helped a lot of other people reach their goals along the way. And part of that is finding leaders and developing leaders and being willing to pour into those. And if you are completely clueless on how to do those things, or it makes you super nervous, again, that's whatever you're dragging your sponsor in. You're saying, okay, help me. How do we do this? Or you are also making yourself better, and you are pouring into yourself, and you're showing up to team calls, and you're reading the personal development books and things like that, because then it gets easier to lead people along the way as well. Shifting gears to this book, how much time do we have? I'll try it. It's I'll try to be done in like within 10 minutes or whatever. We've only been on here like 20 minutes. So this was chapter 7, which is embracing practice. And I feel like that goes really good, because with what she just talked about, because the first couple times that you're doing this is going to be practicing. You're going to be figuring out how to do it. And eventually it's going to become something that's really natural. Kind of like whenever we started doing buy sell trade sites, it started out as like, I wonder if we can get anybody from yard sale sites. Okay, we got some comments, and then practicing how we're reaching out to those people until we found a system that worked really well. If you guys have heard me in the past, I talked about my first conversations with people on buy sell trade sites was me literally throwing up plexus on them and them ignoring me and me not getting further, but being willing to practice and make it better. How can we make it shorter? And practice is another thing that's going to get you far in this business. So it starts out by saying it's a fact. You play at the level at which you practice. Consistently good practice leads to consistently good play. It sharpens your talent. Successful people understand this. They value practice, and they develop the discipline to do it. If you want to sum up what lifts most successful individuals above the crowd, you could do it with 4 little words: a little bit more. Successful people pay their dues, and they do all that is expected of them, plus a little bit more. So it goes in and it talks about the power of practice. And And he gives stories and stuff like that about, talks a lot about ball players and stuff like that, but always talks about they're always upgrading their preparation. Maggie talked a lot about preparation, the power of preparation last week. But he always says like they're upgrading that by sharpening their practice. And he has a couple steps about practice. He says practice enables development. How do we grow in development? Through practice. People refine old skills and acquire new ones through practice. That is where tension between where we are and where we ought to be propels us forward. And I kind of feel like I talked about that a little bit with the buy sell trade sites and practicing that and figuring out. And we've done that with a lot of things. We've done a lot of, it's okay to be curious with your business. It's okay to be creative with your business and try new things and see what works. And then whenever you feel like something is working or you have proof from somebody else that it's been working really well from, then figuring that out and practicing it and developing the skills to do it. So it's done correctly. Practice keeps making you better than you were yesterday. And if you don't practice, you shortchange your potential. And then it says practice leads to discovery. Your performance can always be improved. Every single performance can be improved since there's always a better way. Your job is to find it. And sometimes I feel like that can even be with like our systems at hand. We can always work on improving that. What else should we add? What else should we change? Things like that. There's value in starting with small things. As you first start to practice, the gains may be small, but they will grow. They compound like interest. This is something that I feel like we talk about a lot. Whenever you're first starting with our system, your gains may be like, okay, I'm getting a couple comments or I'm getting a couple likes or something like that. You get some conversations going, things like that. And then eventually it compounds where you have a day where you can't sit down because you're signing up 5 people that day because all of your disciplines of doing the same things over and over again are paying off. They're compounding. You're getting that interest. A price must be paid to reach the next level. The best way to make practice exciting is to think of in terms of discovery and development. And whenever we talk about this, a price must be paid in order to reach your goals with Plexus, especially whenever you're wanting to hit emerald or sapphire or diamond. The price of time, you're going to have to be willing to put in that work on a daily, regular basis. And also the price of learning to deal and work with your emotions. I have a lot of you that are so excited and you are doing this and you're not going to stop. And then you set a goal and you don't reach it. And then I don't hear anything from you for, I don't even know how long, because instead of dealing with your emotions, okay, I didn't hit it. That's okay. We just pick ourselves up and we just keep going forward. Do you know how many goals I am not met over the past several years? There's been a lot of them. And there has been times where I have wallowed in my emotions and I've let things kind of like I've kind of hid and let myself go backwards. And then I would have to rebuild and get to where I needed to be. And I feel like now a lot of times if I don't hit my goal or I don't, whatever's happening that I want to happen isn't happening, then instead of just sitting there, you just get creative. Well, what else can I do? How can I be better? How can I push through this? How can I encourage my team? Things like that. Again, that's part of paying the price of this, is learning to work through it and not just sitting with it. What's the last one? It says practice demands discipline. One reason some people see practice as a grind is that it requires discipline. And if you have ever been on our Silver and 7 training, one of the quotes that we use in there is talking about all of the hours of practice that it takes to master something. And that's why so many people ever master it, is because of the being boring, consistently having to do the same things over and over again. It's not a matter of conditions, but of choice. But once the choice is made and practice becomes a habit, 2 things become obvious. The first is separation between the person who makes, The first is separation between the person who practices and the one who doesn't. And the second thing that emerges is a winning spirit. The harder you work, the harder it becomes to surrender. It becomes harder to quit, harder to give up, the more that you're willing to put in the effort. This gets on to right here is leadership. I'm skipping this part. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm getting to the end part of it. You guys can read the book if you want and catch all the pieces that I'm skipping. So it says the extra that makes people successful. A little extra effort always gives a person an edge. R. Williams, the founder of Financial Service, once told me, you beat 50% of people in America by working hard. You beat 40% by being a person of honesty and integrity and standing for something. And the last 10% is a dogfight in the free enterprise system. If you want to win that dogfight, you do a little extra. And then the second part is a little extra time. The most common trait I have found in all successful people is that they have conquered the temptation to give up. That's another thing that I kind of wanted to address is not like whenever I talked about your emotions and stuff like that, not being willing to give up every single time something doesn't go your way, and always being willing to push forward and persevere, do that. And that's part of being better. That's part of succeeding in anything, is conquering the temptation to give up, or even conquering the temptation to say you're going to give up, or to whenever you're having a bad day, conquering that temptation to go and spew that to other people, or try to infiltrate your negative emotions and your negative beliefs about something onto other people. If you're having a bad day and you need a pep talk, again, go to your sponsor and get that pep talk. That's fine, but don't, just because you're having a bad day, don't go and spread that throughout the team. Leadership, what they tell us. Yeah, they tell us. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. That can be said of any talent we try to cultivate and improve. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. I think about that too sometimes with like my Christian walk. I feel like I'm so much smarter than I was 10 years ago, like have so much more wisdom, like what I thought I knew 10 years ago in my Christian walk compared to what I know now. And then I get excited of where I'm going to be 10 years from now, because I feel like I'm going to look back in my early 30s and be like, wow, you were still such a baby. And I feel like it's the same way with leadership. Definitely better than I was 10 years ago. And I'm probably nothing compared to what I'll be in 10 years. A little extra help. And I think of our team here, and it talks about not doing anything on your own and doing things together. And this is one thing that I absolutely love about our team, is so many of us are so great at working together. And it's kind of an all hands on deck. We always have people willing to pick up things. We have people willing to host calls, when people willing to do events and things like that. But just knowing that you're not ever getting anywhere on your own, it's usually kind of a team effort. And the next one's a little extra change. Let's face it, most people are resistant to change. They desire improvement, but they resist changing their everyday routine. That's a problem, because as leadership expert Max Dupree says, we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. You need to pursue change, and you need to do it a little bit more than other achievers. And then he talks about how to pursue change. I can just take a picture of that and send it in there, but it's a little get up there. And a couple other things that I want to address before this is, we've had some people like talking about like their buy sell trade sites and things like that in the group, and maybe not taking off as much. For one, I do, like we've talked about this before, like this is being this is seasonal a lot of times, but thinking of things that you can do on your own timeline or in the other groups, making sure that you're posting engagement posts. Try to throw some personal posts in there. Whenever I am getting things more on my timeline, I notice my sites are taking off. Get in groups, post engagement posts in groups. It doesn't even have to be Plexus related. It can be like Amanda the other day got in a home decor group and was like, hey guys, how should I decorate my wall? And getting a bunch of she really wanted to know that information.
I didn't like their response.
She didn't like the response because I told her to take down what she had.
but it helped.
But it helped. But just doing things like that to also get engagement on your buy sell trade sites. So this is another time whenever it's good to get creative in your business. So if you're waking up in the morning and you're posting and you're like, okay, I didn't get anything. Some people will just be like, okay, well, I'm going to take the day off and just not do anything. But this is, was it you a while ago, did a really good example of, you can be going through your messages and you can be finding testimonies of conversations that you've already had, and you can be sending those. You can be finding new friends on Facebook, reaching out and friending people. If you want to make your chicken list of people that you would love to have, like there's been diamonds that have built their teams by finding people that they wanted to work with and reaching out to those people and telling them why they would want to work with them and why they think this would be great for them. And just trying to do other things to build your business and to work your business, sending out a couple messages and being really active that way. If you want to try doing things on Instagram, like do the buy, sell, trade sites, do all the steps, keep doing the things, but don't just stop and not do anything if you feel like you haven't got comments for the day, because there's usually always something else that you can do to add to your business. There's a lot of different ways to work this.
Go through people who you've had order for the past month or past couple months. Go through and go through your back office, look at those people and start sending the voice messages about, hey, did you know that if you do this with friends, or if you have anybody I can talk to, you can earn $45. Just, you don't have to start as new enrollment now. Go back to people who've already enrolled and just start sending those voice messages.
Hey, Bailey, can you share the story about, you kind of had the same thing happen, but just the person that you were watching, about how she just thought about her business? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
The story that she said that she was like, whenever she started seeing herself, like it's a kind of like the law of attraction, like how you see yourself and your confidence is kind of who you're attracting to you. You shared the story with me. It was a diamond that you followed, I think she was a diamond, but how she was kind of like not feeling very good about it. But once she started seeing herself as a successful, what started happening? You know,
yeah, yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember who it was, but she was just talking about how like she had a really bad attitude and her business was doing really bad. And then all of a sudden she's just like, I can do this, and started believing in herself and just started like posting and sharing. She said because she believed in herself, then other people believed in her and her team just started exploding. So our attitude, I feel like, definitely affects our business.
Absolutely.
yeah. There is a story in here. I might butcher it, so if you read it, oh, here it is. He's talking about this guy that won the Super Bowl. He said he won the first one, he lost the second one. He says he wears 2 rings, his winner's ring and his loser's ring. And he asked him why he does that. And he said because his 2 experience couldn't have been more different. During their championship season, Theismann was thrilled to be in the Super Bowl and gave it his very best to win, but not the next year. The next year, he said, I was griping about the weather, my shoes, practice times, everything, and he clearly wasn't giving his best efforts. The difference in in those 2 rings lies in applying oneself and not accepting anything but the best. But it was just kind of his attitude about being in the Super Bowl one year versus another. But it really does change a lot in who you are attracting to you. People aren't attracted to.
Instead of griping about everything that's not working in your business, start looking for more things that you can do to make it work. Like, don't even give it the time. We all have struggles of things that are not going right on our Facebook or anything, but we don't let it hold us back. We like, okay, well, what else can I do today? What can I do more of to?
And I have a secret. There have been so many successful people with Plexus and so many successful people with our compensation plan. So there is absolutely no reason that you cannot be successful too. Maybe it's not on your timeline. It was not on my timeline. But just because it's not on your timeline does not mean that it's not going to happen. And I just want to encourage everybody in that and know that if any of us can figure this out, then there's no reason that nobody here cannot figure it out. But it's kicking us off in 1 minute and 25 seconds. So I will leave you guys with that. Thanks for hopping on here today.